Coming to you live from the MediaPlex in downtown Windsor, this is a presentation of St. Clair College Journalism.
Butler, and you're watching MediaPlex News Now. Are you looking to do some traveling for the March break? I went out to get the details on the best places to visit. March break is coming up, and Kathleen Warren knows all the hot spots this year.
So that would be Cuba, Jamaica, and Cancun. And those are the ones that operate out of Windsor. Those are the most popular.
So if you're looking for some warm temperatures, you might have to join the Last Minute Club. I'm Emma Butler. Black History Month is almost over, and Jordan Ferris went out to see how some Windsorites are celebrating.
On February 25th, Making It Awkward Challenging Anti-Black Racism and Black Law Students Association held a Speak Black spoken word night at the College for Creative Arts. The night was designed to bring students away to share life experiences, but also raise awareness to the issues people of color face. It looked to do this through having spoken word artists and others perform. Kayla Smith, one of the spoken word performers, said events like this are important to opening a dialogue.
I think it's really important in an event like tonight to get the community together to talk a lot about what issues are important to people of color and to build connection and trust with the community because that's what it's all about.
Over 9 artists performed talents from singing to slam poetry. As well, the topics range from speaking about their struggles to celebrating the history of Viola Desmond. Lacey Carter, president of both Making It Awkward Challenging Anti-Black Racism and Black Law Students Association, said that she wanted to do it to end Black History Month on the right foot.
First time we've ever had like a Black History Month event through the Faculty of Law and the School of Social Work in combined collaboration. So this event is here to celebrate Black culture, Black art, poems, songs, pretty much everything. Yeah, just to end off Black History Month.
Artie says there are more events in the future that aim to tackle the issues minorities face. With MediaPlex News, I'm Jordan Ferris.
The Bangladesh community of Windsor, Essex gathered in celebration of their language. Trisha Kundu tells us more.
It's a celebration filled with colors, food, dance and songs. The Bangladeshi community in Windsor celebrated their first international Mother Language Festival.
It makes me feel proud because I can be a part of the diversity.
28-year-old Rashid Najib was one of the many participants who attended the festival, which celebrates diversity and multilingual culture of the city. The festival took place after the Bangladeshi flag was hoisted on International Mother Language Day. The flag hoisting ceremony was also attended by Mayor Drew Dilkins.
This is a gift of Bangladesh to the rest of the world.
Saiful Bhuiya, who is the president of the community, says this day is celebrated to ensure the survival of the languages, since every 2 weeks one language is lost. In 8000 BC, humans spoke around 20,000 dialects, but today the number has declined to just 6,500. According to the United Nations, 7 languages are presently on the brink of extinction. The event was also attended by several guest speakers, and a flag presentation from 16 different countries was also held. For MediaPlex News, I am Trisha Kundu.
Multiculturalism in our community was on display. Travis Conant reports.
The City of Windsor held their annual cultural summit at Wilstead Manor to discuss art, culture, and heritage within Windsor. Kayla Lassard is a part of the Ford City Neighborhood Renewal Project and talks about what her booth is all about.
We received funding 2 times from the Arts, Culture, Heritage Fund from the city, and with that money we funded many murals in Ford City with our Alley Mural Project, which were painted and done by artists in the neighborhood.
Kathy Masterson is the manager of cultural affairs for the City of Windsor.
Well, my team, my portfolio has 5 branches to it. So Museum Windsor, which has 3 sites. There's the Chimchuck Museum, there's the Francois Bobby House downtown, and then also the Duff Bobby Interpretation Center in Sandwich. I have Willisted Manor, which is this building and the outbuildings here. the sculpture park and public art, and we have over 100 pieces of public art in that collection. So that's a pretty significant collection too. We also have community engagement, and the cultural master plan is the fifth piece.
The Cultural Summit takes place every 2 years, so if you missed it this year, don't worry, it will be back. From MediaPlex News, I'm Travis Kahn.
The Community Health Center is vital to our community. Miranda Monahan explains.
Hello, I'm Miranda Monahan, and today we're going to be spending 3 minutes with Shelby Colarossi. Shelby is the Fund Development Coordinator for the Windsor Essex Community Health Center. So Shelby, what is your job as Fund Development Coordinator?
My job as the Fund Development Coordinator is to support the organization and all of its fundraising initiatives, and to support them with their public relations and their communications.
What does the Community Health Center do?
Oh, the Community Health Center is a not-for-profit organization. We support the vulnerable population within our community. We have 6 physical locations. We have a most popular location on Olette, which is Teen Health. We have another location on Palliser, which is Street Health. We have the Diabetes Wellness Center on Lausanne. We have a supportive program for active aging in Pickwick Plaza across from Tecumseh Mall. We're located in Leamington, and we're also in West Windsor.
What kind of services does the center provide?
We provide primarily primary care, which is physicians and nurse practitioners, counseling, and other supportive services.
How long has the center been around for?
The center is a result of an amalgamation between Sandwich Community Health Center and Teen Health Center, and those organizations have been alive since about the early 90s. The amalgamation took place in 2009, and since then we've just continued to be responsive to the gaps in healthcare within our community and growing accordingly.
How can people get in touch with you?
They can check us out on our website, which is www.wechc.org, or they can call us at 519-253-8481.
Thanks again, Shelby. We have just spent 3 minutes with Shelby Colarossi.
What's free to give and could save a life? James Murphy solves the riddle.
The blood donated to Canadian Blood Services here in Windsor could save someone's life. Someone like Windsorite Samar Nora, who was diagnosed with aplastic anemia at the age of 11.
The disease that I had stopped my bone marrow from working, so my body was not creating any blood whatsoever. So the bone marrow creates stem cells that turn into red blood cells, white blood cells, platelets, and so on. And so my body was not producing any of that, and so that's why I needed daily blood transfusions to keep me alive.
Local blood donor Tom Cooper was at Canadian Blood Services on Grand Mares Road this morning. He stops by there to donate every 8 weeks for the last 10 years because he knows just how important it is to give blood.
Well, there's always people in the hospitals who need blood. I myself am O positive, so I can donate to anybody who is positive. So it's really good on a medical standpoint. You never know when you're going to be in the hospital needing blood yourself, so it's always good to pay it forward.
I'm here at Canadian Blood Services to show you just how easy it is to donate blood. All you have to do is pass a quick screening test, fill out a questionnaire, and then you're ready to donate. It's quick, it's easy, and it could save a life. For MediaPlex News, I'm Jim Murphy.
Jordan Ferris has some tips to help us keep healthy in our weekly Health Minute.
When it comes to sleep, we all know that it's important to get enough and that not doing so can lead to serious health issues. Such problems include heart disease, high blood pressure, and diabetes. But how exactly it causes some of these problems gets lost on a majority of the population. But a new study from the Massachusetts General Hospital takes a look into how sleep affects cardiovascular disease risk. The report shows that sleep is able to help control the production of inflammatory cells within bone marrow, also finding that when sleep was disturbed, the body's ability to control these cells begins to go down. This in turn leads to inflammation, leading to higher heart disease. And this is because of a hormone known as hypocreatine, which is produced in large levels when awake. The study found that when sleep deprived, hypocreatine was less likely to be produced and the control of white blood cells was less effective. I'm Jordan Ferris, and this has been Your Health Minute.
The Coldest Night of the Year walk took place at the Downtown Mission this past week. This event was an opportunity to raise funds and support homeless people in the area. Reporter Shabam Shabam spoke with the director of the development and the Downtown Mission about the event.
you celebrated the coldest night of the year. So how much fund do you need for homeless people?
Yes, we celebrated our coldest night of the year walk event for the 6th time this year on Saturday. Our goal was to raise $50,000. We were really happy. We had over 225 walkers, our biggest turnout ever, come and walk with us in support of the work we do. And we did raise over $50,000 to support the work of the mission, so we're really happy about that.
Is there any common people contribute to your downtown mission?
Yes, anyone can donate. We always say donate their time, talents, or treasures here at the mission to help us with our work, with our goals of helping people in our community. We have a lot of people, a lot of individuals who will come and volunteer.
So what facilities you are providing?
We have 3 shelters here in Windsor, but we are 103 beds, but we also sometimes in extreme weather conditions we have up to 20 people sleeping on mats as well, because we don't want to turn people away.
Police, students, and families came to the annual Polar Plunge, jumping into icy waters for a good cause. Cindy Zhang has the details.
Polar Plunge is a provincial event hosted in 24 communities across Ontario. The Windsor Essex event was held on February 15.
Get set, go!
The chilly water didn't scare away more than 100 brave souls who took the plunge for Special Olympics Ontario. The Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics organized not only this polar plunge, but also others events across the province. Last year, they raised $2.3 million, and this year, they're looking to raise $3.5.
We raise money for those athletes and province-wide, and the bond between the athletes and the officers is incredible. If you see medal ceremonies, the officers actually give out the medals to the athletes, and it's very, very touching. The athletes look up to them like superheroes because of all the work they do to raise money to give them the opportunities for these games. It's incredible.
The local Special Olympics athletes and the coaches were volunteers giving toys and food to those brave people whose fundraising is quite meaningful for Special Olympics Ontario.
We need more. This is a wonderful event, but because to send an athlete to something like provincial games or national games and then to Worlds is very, very costly, and that all comes from Special Olympics Ontario. So yes, there's obviously more fundraising that is needed to be, always needed to be done.
175 local Special Olympics athletes compete in 30 sports in Windsor, Essex.
Let's have a look at our forecast. Tonight and into tomorrow, it could get a little sloppy. Wednesday, we can expect a couple of inches of snow and a high of -2. Thursday, it will be sunny and -1. And Friday, the first day of March, sunny again and a high of 1. CTV's Jim Crichton dropped by the studio and sat down with MediaPlex reporter Joyce St. Antoine.
Hello, I'm Joyce St. Antoine, and this is 3 Minutes with Jim Crichton. Jim Crichton is the anchor at CTV Windsor. So what path led you towards working at CTV?
You know, Joyce, I didn't start out to be a broadcaster at all. I went to Brock University in St. Catharines, and it was with the intention of being an English teacher, but I got involved with the campus radio station, and that started my close to 45-year career in broadcasting.
How long have you been at CTV, and what was your experience like?
I've been here for almost 20 years. I started in 2000, the first 3 years of which were in London. We used to do a remote broadcast into Windsor from London at that time. In 2003, I moved here, and I've been here ever since, closing in on my 19th year with the company. It's been a terrific ride. We've had different ownership through the years. When I first started working, we were owned by Chum. The station was called the New WI at that time. Then it became A Channel and simply A, and under CTV we're CTV2.
Do you have any advice for students going into the journalism field?
I would say be yourself. I think the most important gift that you can give is the gift of yourself. Be honest. I would not be one to get into it with an agenda of social change, for example. I know some journalists consider that their mandate. I don't. I view this as a craft, and I like to perfect it. I look at it as a broadcasting skill.
Is there a chance you own all the ties that you wear on the news, or is it from the wardrobe?
Oh, no, those are my ties. I do have a clothing allowance, but I've been collecting ties through the years. Do you know I wore ties in high school sometimes, too? Not all the time, but sometimes, so I'm a tie guy.
On your days off, do you wear ties?
Sometimes I do, and here's an interesting story about that. I discovered once when I didn't wear a tie, I felt the broadcast was less successful. This was in radio when I didn't have to have a tie. But I felt when I was properly attired, I did a better job.
What would be something that not many people know about you?
Probably my love of cats. Everybody knows I like old cars, but I'm a cat lover. I love animals in general, but my daughter brought a cat into my life. I was indifferent to it at the time, but I came to be a cat lover. So we're on our second or third cat. They don't last forever, but we've missed them and loved them all.
What is the best part of your job?
I would say the actual broadcast itself. You don't love every minute of everything you do. I think that's true of anybody's line of work. But after all the hard work is done, when you get to sit down behind the desk and do the broadcast, that's the part that I like best.
Thank you for joining us, Jim.
Thank you, Joyce. My pleasure.
This was 3 Minutes with Jim Crichton. I'm Joyce St. Antoine.
Students at the University of Windsor shared a meal and ideas at the TEDx event last weekend. Juliana Bonnet found out how the event helped students feed their bodies and minds.
Time is a valued commodity, but this didn't stop over 100 people from spending their time at the University of Windsor's second annual TEDx conference on February 17th. It's About Time was the focus of the self-organized event. Guest speakers shared their ideas about what time means to them. Attendees shared a meal and conversation, which gave the University of Windsor students an opportunity to talk with the speakers one-on-one. The conference, held at the Center for Engineering Institution, features 7 speakers talking about experiences ranging from surviving a breakup to mental health awareness to computer sciences. Organizer of the event, Miliana Majokovic, said she was excited to be able to participate in this year's TEDx conference.
So for the event today, we actually began with our TED introduction, and then we went on to feature 2 speakers as well as a TED Talk. And then following that, we had activities, lunch. We featured 7 speakers throughout the day, and they all show their own different, unique perspective on time, which is our current theme.
Robert France, music director of the Windsor Symphony Orchestra, who spent his life around the timing of music, was one of the guest speakers.
I'm thrilled to be here today. This is my first TEDx experience, and it was really, really fun. First of all, doing my talk, which was called Active Listening and Our Perception of Time. And the idea was, for my talk, was how our time, our concept of time, is changed depending on our engagement with what it is that we're doing, and in particular, in my case, listening to and engaging with classical music.
From MediaPlex News, I'm Juliana Bonnet.
They say art is in the eye of the beholder. Curlis Maddie tells us more.
Artists don't always work with paintbrushes or cameras. Fashion artists specialize in fabrics and design. And local fashion artists displayed their artwork at the first Art on Culture fashion show at the Water's Edge, sponsored by the City of Windsor. The event showcased a variety of artistic clothing developed by several local artists and designers. Samantha Enriquez, one of the artists featured at the show, said it's important to showcase one's culture.
I think it's a good way to get everyone to collaborate and maybe grow and just bringing everyone together through art, and it's a really good thing, and I think it should be done more.
Artists' designs interpreted what culture meant to them and what inspires them. Stephen Drowan, the coordinator of the event, said culture is more than just someone's heritage and where they come from.
Culture is many things. If I could break it down to you, if I were to name my mannequin, I would name them culture. Culture is a mannequin, and when I say art is on culture, I consider that the art on culture is the sense is that art is on us as people.
Profits from tickets sold benefited several organizations, including the Windsor Youth Center and Arts Council Windsor and Region. For MediaPlex News, I'm Curlis Maddie.
This past long weekend was an opportunity for families to spend more time together. For some families, it was learning about Canadian history and art. Reem Codemany has the story.
401 Riverside Drive was a center of activity over the weekend. The building is home to both the museum and the art gallery. Curator of education in the art gallery, Chris Finn, noted the difference between the two displays.
We do have temporary exhibitions, plus we do have on the third floor an extensive collection of works from our permanent collection. Since we have been collecting for the past 75 years, we have about 4,000 works that we can put out a certain portion of those either for a short term or a long term. And we currently have 150 works on display in a long-term exhibition that has just been opened in the last couple of months. And it's works that range from historical European and Canadian works that date back to the 17th century through to contemporary art.
Children visiting the museum on the first floor were able to see local art mixed with history. Local artists also organize a unique activity each week.
It's a confidence booster for children when they're coming in because they don't have a particular set of skills. So if they come in not knowing how to sew, for instance, when they leave with a finished project, I see a lot of smiles on children's faces. So helping build that confidence through the arts, I think, is important.
You can view historical European and Canadian works on the third floor of the museum. For MediaPlex News, I'm Reem Kudmani.
Tate Harris takes us on a quick trip around the wide world of sports.
Monday was a big day for hockey fans. The NHL trade deadline has come and gone with some significant moves being made. The biggest trade, Mark Stone was traded from the Ottawa Senators to the Vegas Golden Knights. The trade saw prospect Eric Brandstrom, Oscar Lindbergh, and a second-round pick head back to Ottawa for their star forward. Vegas also received Tobias Lindbergh from the Knights. The Windsor Express are now in first place in the Central Division of the NBLC. This is a surprising feat considering they started the season 2-7. The Express look to continue their winning ways Thursday against the Sudbury Five. The Spits are still in a tight race for the last playoff spot in the Western Conference of the OHL. Currently, the Spitfires hold the 8th and final spot with the Erie Otters closely behind. The Otters are 4 points back but have 2 games in hand. The Spits take on the Peterborough Petes this Thursday. Puck drop is at 7:05 p.m. I'm Tate Harris, and that was your Sports Minute.
As the Windsor Spitfires fight for their playoff lives, the OHL squad still found time to hold a solemn tribute for their late former captain, Mickey Renaud. Caitlin Kenny has the story.
Thousands gathered at the WFCU Center on February 18th on what's become an annual celebration of life of late Spitfires captain Mickey Renaud. The Windsor hockey community has been coming together for the past 11 years to remember their fallen captain, who died unexpectedly from a rare heart condition when he was only 19. Many were there to support the Spitfires and the visiting team, the Owen Sound Attack. The Renaud family made an appearance for the opening ceremonies, which included a video and the gifting of Mickey scholarships from Sutherland Global Services. The Spitfires make this day special for fans, and especially the Renaud family.
It's a hard day for our family, I'll be honest, but we appreciate that people remember him so well.
As well as staff who knew Mickey.
So it's important to honor his legacy because Mickey is the community and Mickey is Windsor and he is our captain forever.
They make it clear that his name is etched into the hearts of players and staff forever. From MediaPlex News, I'm Caitlin Kenny.
The Windsor Express has had some great success over the past couple of years, but as Tate Harris points out, you can't do that without some great players.
Here's Anderson. Good! And there it is. Ryan Anderson just scored his 3,000th NBL Canada point.
On February 7th, Ryan Anderson became the second player in NBLC history to score 3,000 points. But his journey to get there began in his hometown of Seattle.
To be honest, when I started playing, I wasn't the best. I didn't look like the other players. I was chubby. But you know, people have this idea of what a basketball player looks like. You know, when you draft a basketball player in the NBA, you know, he looks like this, or look at his arms and look at his chest and look at his legs and look how high he jumps. You know, it's the same problem Steph Curry faced when he was drafted. They said he's not a prototypical guard, but he's one of the best players to ever play the game, possibly, you know, or shoot the ball in the league, you know. So I kind of faced that a lot. So I've always had this competitive fire to prove people wrong, kind of, because they judge me based on how I look. So I always had a fire.
My name is Ryan Anderson. I'm
from Seattle, Washington, and I went to University of Nebraska.
It was announced that Anderson signed to the Ottawa Skyhawks on August 16, 2013, making next season his NBLC debut.
Here's Anderson with just a minute left in this game. Still a 6-point lead, 110-104. 1 minute left. Crouch drives in, back out, Anderson, 3-ball. Yes, did it go!
Everything at that time when I was 24, I was trying to make sure everything was calculated. I was only nervous to see if this league would be competitive, the talent level was good enough. The money was there, and I was like, well, I'll just give it a try, and it was definitely, the talent level was definitely there.
Anderson quickly became a star in the NBLC. He is a 3-time NBLC champion, an All-Star, a Finals MVP, and now only the second player in the league's history to hit 3,000 points. Windsor Express commentator Aaron Sanders says Anderson's star status goes beyond his accolades.
He doesn't have a black mark onto him, believe it or not. I mean, he's the guy that on and off the court you could have a nice talking to, you could learn a lot from him, so I think that's one of the main reasons why he could be the GOAT of NBL Canada.
I can't even describe you, I can't even explain to you guys the feeling of just gratefulness and you know the feeling when you work so hard for your dream, like a dream that you worked hard for, and it comes true.
Time will tell how long Anderson has left in the NBLC, but one thing is for sure, he isn't worried about being remembered for his basketball skills.
Definitely want to be remembered as first of all, I always tell Kyrie this, he's like my little brother. Just be a good person. When basketball is said and done, you know, it's cool to play basketball, but I think being a good person is better because that's what's going to impact people's lives more than you shooting a shot. And he can shoot the ball, but he's a great person. I really appreciate him being a great person, and that's what I want to be remembered for, being a great person, spreading a lot of love, and you know, treating people the way I would want to be treated.
A local auto shop is now the third in Canada to be able to upgrade from a Ford to a Shelby cars. Cassidy McNay has the story.
If the Ford Mustang is an American classic, then the Shelby Mustang is the American dream. A family-run Windsor auto shop is the third in Canada to be Ford approved for Shelby upgrades and modifications. Mechanics from Eccentric Auto Shop travel to Las Vegas to learn the upgrade process. They are now approved for upgrading Fords into Super Snakes and continuation Cobras. Bill Darman, the owner of the shop, said building Shelbys is a lifelong dream.
Well, I've always been interested in Shelbys, and I built one myself many years ago, or started building one many years ago. But to be what we call a Shelby mod shop, we started that process about 2 years ago. And the reason we did that is because a number of our clients had come to us trying to be able to purchase a Shelby.
Although this is not their first time working on this type of car, this is the first time Shelby vehicles completed in the shop can join an exclusive official worldwide registry. Chris Darman said he was excited throughout the entire learning process.
The end goal is, you know, I wish I was like Carroll Shelby, or I wish I could have the notoriety that Carroll Shelby has. And, you know, my family, we've all grown up with cars and always in racing, and that's pretty much the way Shelby always has been.
The Shelby Mustang has its place in racing history, and it's here to stay. For MediaPlex News, I'm Cassidy McNay.
Thanks for tuning in. I'm Emma Butler, and you've been watching MediaPlex News Now.
MediaPlex News Now is a production of the St. Clair College Journalism Program.